I'm Catherine McGuinness. I chair the Policy and Resources Committee at the City of London Corporation, and I'm delighted to be here with the 690th Lord Mayor, Charles Bowman. Charles, during your year you have interviewed all sorts of people on the business of trust and the 5 civic principles, and I'm turning the tables and I'm going to ask you for your views. And I'm very keen to hear, first of all, which principle you would choose above the rest, and well, which one would it be and for what reason?
Well, Catherine, can I first of all start by saying delight to be here, and very interesting to have it turned. I have done 39 interviews this year, but to your first question, which is my favoured principle, if I'm honest, I don't have a single favoured principle. I've always looked at the civic principles as a package that intertwine and interlink, and in part that's probably because I was heavily engaged in the development of the principles. And just to provide a bit of context, how do we come about the principles? We did so with 2 work streams, or 2 different work streams. One was where we engaged a business team to review the thousands of man-years that have been invested into the preparation of codes of conduct, value statements and professional standards, and asked them to coalesce that thinking into 5 very simple guiding principles. And secondly, we had a team that carried out a series of what we call citizens' juries up and down the country, drawing people together and asking them the question from society, that is, what behaviours would they expect from business, and distilling that again into 5 areas. And the wonderful joy of that is that the thinking from the business work stream and the thinking from the society work stream reconciled in nature 100%, barring the language, and it was from that we garnered and gathered the 5 principles. There is a little difference in the way the generations have responded to this question, and the overwhelming response out of those over 30 years old has been to pick integrity. And yet for those under 30, the overwhelming response has been value to society. And I think that demonstrates, if nothing else, quite an interesting intergenerational mismatch that we have in society today.
And that brings us actually very neatly to the Leaders of Tomorrow, the group of younger leaders from the sector who you have brought together, who have, amongst other things, been looking at what they might recommend to organisations in order to create and develop trust. And I'm interested to hear a little bit more about that group, and I'm also interested to hear what action you might recommend to business.
Yes. I mean, we recognised early on the need to engage the younger community. So I, in starting this programme, wrote to 100 chief execs and chair people of businesses in UK financial and professional services, and asked them to nominate their next generation leader. And we've got a community of 85 really emboldened and energetic and ambitious people who have supported this programme throughout the year. And actually they came up with, in the first instance, a series of recommendations that they felt was applicable under each of the individual 5 guiding principles. And the one that has always taken me, if I'm really honest, is the one that sits under the value to society pillar, and that is having a clear purpose beyond simply profit maximisation. And I do believe it is those businesses in today's day and age who are able to define their purpose and perhaps reconcile that purpose through to their business model, then to their strategy, and then to other operational features of doing business, including pay and remuneration. I think it is those businesses that will sustain themselves best for the long term. And it's those sorts of businesses that the younger generation, school children, want to work for, want to buy from, and want to transact with.
And it's been a very full programme. What do you feel has been the greatest success of the programme, and how do you think it will help to restore and rebuild trust?
Simple answer, yes. It has, and it will continue to do so. But trust is a very complex agenda. There isn't a single light switch you can turn from off to on. As I often say, trust arrives on foot and leaves on the galloping horse. And if I'm honest, the galloping horse left as it relates to the sector that you and I advocate for back in 2008. And the role that we are playing at this moment in time is leading that horse back towards the stable step by step. So it is without doubt helping. It's going to take time, and across the globe there are horses galloping, and I hope that this programme that we've taken internationally will help others lead those horses back home to the stable.
And actually, you've answered my final question, which is I'm very interested to know what challenges you see ahead.
Challenges or opportunities? Again, as I say, trust, a very, very complex subject. I think it's very interesting that if I had to make 5 observations coming out of this year, they would be: 1, technology. Technology has played its part in the decay in trust over the last 5 to 10 years. We live in a very different world, a 4th revolution, as we might call it, which is in part a technology-based revolution, but in part a values-based revolution. So it's played its part, and it will play its part in rebuilding and restoring trust in a different way. 1. Secondly, I would observe that in relation to our sector, pay and taxes is not going away. That matter does need to be addressed. Thirdly, leadership. Leadership, we talked about the leaders of tomorrow, but leadership hierarchies are shifting in today's day and age, and empowering the middle management, the middle leadership, I think is a very, very critical feature of business opportunity as we progress forward. Education would be perhaps my 4th observation. What I think we've observed, not least through engaging with school children through the course of this year, it is a subject that whilst perhaps can't be taught, we can engage on the subject. And the earlier that you can engage, particularly with school children, the better. They have been arguably the most inspiring conversations we have had all year. And my 5th final observation would just be around personal responsibility. And the message that we do convey, again, across the globe is that we've got 5 wonderful civic principles in the Business of Trust programme, but actually personal responsibility, the actions of individuals and the individual actions of those individuals count much more than the words themselves.
And you've been a great champion for this, a great role model for the personal responsibility through the way that you've championed it. Obviously, that's something that we will work to carry forward, but let me just congratulate you on what I think has been a very successful programme and a very successful year. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And I've really enjoyed working with you this year too, Catherine. Thank you.